Hi guys, welcome to episode 4. So we had a good idea. We went around France to see all these amazing castles, and we tried it out that one year and decided, you know what, I think this is worth doing. So welcome to episode 4. How in the world could we even do this?
Yeah, it's one thing to have an idea, but how do you buy a castle? Especially when you're fairly low income folks like us, teachers, working in churches. We don't have a ton of capital. So Leslie, right from the start, you were ready to go, you were ready to do it. I have been dragging my feet and continued to drag my feet. And so I said, how about this? How about we put a fleece out, Christian talk. If God gives us if he gives us this many dollars, then we'll do it. And I was thinking, okay, so we're safe because that's not going to happen. I mean, that was a lot of money to buy one of these things.
It's true.
But you never know, there's foundations and stuff like that. And so I thought, well, I'm safe. Then some interesting things happened. My parents were killed 25 years ago, and we got a couple $100,000. And we put that on off our mortgage, and we came to Happy Valley here in Oregon. We bought a house, and house values kept going up, and we ended up paying it off. And then Leslie's like, we don't work in big money. We don't have any retirement. Maybe we should come out and build a beach house. And that could be our retirement. So we built that thing, and we did a lot of the work ourselves, and that started appraising. And then another surprise, our last parent died, and we weren't going to get any inheritance was the plan. They had a farm, they were going to give it all to charity, but in the end she gave us a quarter section of land. And so we started to look at our Excel charts, and we're like, hey, we could do this. And we thought I thought God maybe would give us the money, like Rich would give it to us, but he did it a different way. And so we're like, okay, well, I guess we do it. So we started talking to our French Chateau owner, and we talked back and forth for about a year, making offers. He had had several offers. He'd been on the market for 4 years. He wanted a lot of money, 7 digits, and we couldn't afford
that. Out of
that.
our range.
Yeah, way too big for us. So finally we started getting closer, and we said, well, maybe we'll buy half the land, 12 acres, and I'll still remember when he wrote back and agreed.
This was after months.
Yeah,
months and months.
a year probably.
Emails in French.
Yeah, in French. No real estate agent helping us, and it was tough. But anyways, finally he agreed, and you were excited.
I was.
Yeah, she thought maybe this is going to happen. I was
Worried.
really worried. I remember saying, I think I just need to go for a walk and get in the shower for a minute. And I literally for the next hour off and on cried, because I realized that the next 20 years of our life are going to be really difficult. But we're excited. We're excited. Could we do it? So we made plans to go to France, and all 4 of us, our family, we brought our kids here. You're going to see them in the video here. All of us went over to Paris, and we negotiated. And we got to the kitchen table. We looked around. The chateau still looked great. The Chateau de Grifferaie. And we sat at the owner, and it turned out the owner had another offer for more. In fact, again, 7-digit offer.
Yeah, from Belgium.
But he had 4 offers fall through because of bank conditions. And so he looked at us and said, we'll take your price.
Which was way lower.
Yeah, which was much, but only if you do it with no conditions. So you put $100,000 down and no bank loan, no mortgage. You come back in 3 months, which is how it works in France.
Yeah, 3 months to buy a house.
Yeah, you come back in 3 months and you give us the rest of the money. And if you don't, we take your $100,000. So that was scary too.
Because we hadn't sold our house yet, or anything, right? So we had whatever was in the bank account, believing that God was going to make sure and sell all this stuff for us.
Yeah, there was tons. So first of all, we got back to the States, and we actually sold the farm.
So this was
on
Christmas.
Craigslist, on Kijiji in Canada. If you can imagine that, we had 8 or 9 farmers talking to us, and we sold it, no fees. And then we listed our house, and we started cleaning like crazy. Found a great real estate agent, Brandy, and listed it, and Leslie got sick with a mysterious disease that was respiratory. 2020, we don't know what it was. She was out of it for a bit, but we were racing to get this thing cleaned up. We got her all cleaned up. We put her on the market. We're praying like crazy, because if we don't sell this thing again, we lose $100,000.
That's a lot.
It's a lot for us. And sure enough, we had, I think, 12 visits or something like that,
so
and multiple offers. We sold in a couple days over asking price. And then, of course, there's the issue of where do we live? If we sell our house, where are we going to live when we're back in the United States? We don't have enough money just to retire out there in France, so we had to keep our jobs and keep working. And so we needed a place, and so we thought, well, since we have a beach house, why don't we just stay out there? It's a couple hours away in Newport, Oregon. And then maybe I'll just drive back and sleep in the car when I go teach at my university, or sleep in my office if they'll let me. But then God answered another prayer for us. I actually asked the school about renting a dorm room. I thought maybe I could just stay in a dorm room. And they came back and said, hey, what if you and Leslie come be faculty in residence, and we'll give you guys an apartment in the dorms, and you can hang out with students, and you can stay there. And the big thing is we could move all of our stuff in there, which was huge because we didn't want to throw out all of our stuff when we sold the house. So this was a huge answer to prayer. It's been awesome getting to know the students. When we first got in there, things were a little jam-packed, yeah, do you think?
Yeah, it's floor to ceiling.
Yeah.
It was packed with boxes and furniture on top of each other.
Borderline hoarders, but we got it figured out, and we were super thankful. So we had that. We had to mortgage this beach house, but we were still short.
Close.
We were super close, but we were still a little bit short, and so we were like, what are we gonna do? And so we actually floated it on Facebook and said, hey, anybody wanna help us out a little bit? And if you can imagine this, we had 3 friends who together lended us 6 digits. If you can imagine that. The first 2, co-workers and students. The last one was a pastor from Canada who we'd never even met. And he writes us, and he's like, we haven't met, but I heard what you guys are doing, and we're really excited about it. And we want to loan you this X amount of dollars. And we're just like, how does that?
Church body is an interesting and amazing
It's only
thing.
in the kingdom of God. So we had the money. All we had to do is change the currency and go over and buy this house in April of 2020. Yeah, 2020.
So this was December that we were on, and January this was all happening.
Bought our tickets, we're ready to go. All of a sudden,
visa was ready.
Little thing called the coronavirus comes, and now suddenly all the flights are getting canceled. All the countries are shutting their borders.
We just got our long stay visa.
Yeah, we had a visa.
A week later.
Yeah.
Global shutdown.
Global shutdown.
And
so
we're
like,
fly a week later.
So we're thinking, well, what do we do? Do we try to change the money? Can we even make this purchase? Are we gonna get over there? Is it gonna be a year till we get there, and then the house is just sitting empty exposed to the elements? And this is super scary. So we're like, are we losing our 100,000? The worst part was the currency started to slide. We had moved all of our American money to euro, but we still had 300,000 Canadian, and it was sliding, and every cent meant $3,000 or $4,000 to us. And so there was one morning that we were losing like $1,000 every 20 minutes. And you're just sitting there going, do we change it? Do we gamble? Do we send the money? Do we just take the $100,000 loss? Which way are we gonna lose worse? It all comes down to faith. But ultimately we just said, you know what, God's brought us this far, we're gonna go for it. So we changed the money. We were sitting there watching the currency on the computer, and it hit, I think, 66, and we're click. And we switched it over, and we sent it over on TransferWise, fantastic program. And we sent it to them, and sure enough, we had a house. Now we still had to get there. And we didn't think we were gonna get there because America's all locked down.
Everywhere was locked down.
But
we couldn't go anywhere.
We're Canadians. And happily, the Europe opened up to a few countries.
In July.
Canada being one of those countries. And so sure enough, we got in the car. We had our tickets canceled, our airline tickets canceled 4 times, but ultimately we drove over to Canada, and they let us get onto the plane, and right until we actually landed in France, we weren't sure we were going to. I mean, at the gate, the first gate agent we had said, no, we don't think you can go. We're not allowed, because their computer wasn't going to let us, and we thought we were toast. But when we got there, I mean, it was 31 hours, and you'll see in this next episode, episode 5, we were amazed that we got through. But God made it happen, and He honored our faith, and we're super excited. And
that's why in that episode where it says our first day in France, we were still, I think, in shock, let alone with no sleep.
Yeah.
Of just like, oh my goodness, I can't even believe we're here.
Yeah.
On a normal day, seeing a chateau like that, but just that we got there was incredible.
So the first 4 episodes were kind of retrospective. From 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are all done in sequence as they were happening, as will be the rest of these. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you later.